Good morning and welcome to the video for Monday, January the 11th. This is going to be a video for third grade, and today we're going to be covering lesson 7.4. So today we're doing similar to what we did on Friday, except we are going to be dividing by threes. So let's go ahead and start working through our problems. We've already done this before. We're going to do some slightly different things this time. Again, we have two chapters in a row that deal with the same topic. And so with that, we're going to be doing kind of a similar thing that we've already done, but apply it to this particular number today. So I think this will go pretty quick. I'm not going to try to slow down as much as I might for some other lessons. I'm also going to give you pretty much all of the homework because I think you guys can handle this pretty quickly and easily. So today we are going to start with a word problem that says for field day, 18 students have signed up for the relay race. Each relay team needs 3 students. How many teams can be made? So they want us to go ahead and start circling groups of 3. So let's go ahead and do that. Pause the video if you need to. I'm actually going to kind of work my way around and kind of go like this. I'm going to make a group of 3 here and make a group of 3 here and here, and then this one's going to look a little bit different. So they're not quite as neatly arranged into rows as some other problems might be. So you kind of got to make choices how you want to circle. So I went with this, and that's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams of 3. And so this would give us the answer 6. When we're writing it up here for the long division style of writing a division problem, the 6 would go above the 8. That will become more important later, either into this year or into next year when we're working with larger numbers, and it definitely matters where we would put that digit because that could affect our answer. All right, so another way that we can do this is to use the number line. So here we go again. We've got 1 skip going backwards, 2nd skip, 3rd skip, 4th skip, 5th skip, and 6th. And so sometimes I just go ahead and say that I'm counting backward by 1. You could also label these and increase by 1. So this would be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. I kind of do a mix of both depending on what type of thing we're working with. Usually with addition and subtraction, I'm going to put the exact number that we're counting by to help us keep track. If 24 students signed up for the relay race and there were 3 students on each team. So we started with 18. What related multiplication fact could we use to find the number of teams? So this is really important. We can do 3 times, and then there would be a blank equals 24. There we go. And so to find the answer to that, we could count by 3. So we have a number line to help us get to 18. So we did 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then we can go up to 21, and then 22, 23, 24. So it would be 8 groups. All right, so we are going to do Sharons Show. Now, some of these are not going to work with 3s. So for instance, we've got a problem where we're doing 14 divided by 2. We have a 30 divided by 5. So they're throwing extra things in there just to kind of make sure that we're kind of staying honest and keeping on our toes while we're doing this. We don't get stuck in a rut and assume what the answer might be just because we're working with a specific number in the lesson. So I would like you to actually go ahead and do number 1 through 5. Use the strategies that we've talked about. So we could use a picture to help us. We could use related math facts. So like I could count by 5s to get to 30, and the number of times that I can do that is going to give me my answer for my division problem. I can make pictures like this. So you've got some options. So go ahead and pause the video. When you're ready, go ahead and hit play and we'll talk through the answers. And I'm going to take a drink of water. All right, here we go. So this one is laid out much nicer. There's nothing wrong with the way they did it the first time, but we have these nice little even groups that we can make, and we don't have to work quite as hard to find a way to get all of our groups of 3 circled without doing something strange, like we might have to do if we started in a different way on the front page. Number 2, we want to find the quotient. So 6 divided by 3, if I take 6 objects and I put them into 3 equal groups, how many would go in each group? That would give us 2. Same thing with number 3, if I take 14 groups, or excuse me, 14 things and put them into 2 equal groups, how many would go in each group? That would be 7. 21 divided by 3 will give us the quotient 7. And our last one, 30 divided by 5 would give us 6. And so we kind of already did talk past the answer to number 4 when we were finding this one. All right, next page. Let me look ahead. Okay, so I'm not going to do all of these. I am going to do the ones in this section here because I think it's important that we do that. So I'm actually going to do those next, and then we'll kind of see how we're doing on time and then work through some of the word problems. I might come back and do a few more of these. We're going to get lots of practice with division. And so, especially for the homework. So for the number we're actually working on today, we'll be getting lots of practice with that. So let's go down to the bottom. So one of the things that we can do when we get problems that look like this is to figure out what one of the sides is worth and go ahead and write that down. So we've got to make both sides be worth the same amount. So let's figure out the side that we can figure out first. So for this one, it would be 10 divided by 2. So think about the answer to 10 divided by 2. Once you know that, then we can figure out what type of problem we would do to get to that number. So that's what I would recommend. So let's go ahead and do number 18 as an example. My goodness, I can't talk today. Sorry. So think about how many times we can count by 2 to get to 10. Pause the video if you need to. That is going to be 5. So of our options, we've got to figure out how to do something with 25 and 5 and get the answer 5 for the answer. So there are only 2 types of problems I can do that I'm going to start with a number this big and end with a number this small. One of those is subtraction where we're taking away, and the other one is division. So that may give you a hint of what we might be able to do here. So think about which one of those 2 would make sense. You could actually try both of them and see which one works. And then when you're ready, go ahead and follow along. If you need to pause for a moment, go ahead and do that. So if I were to do subtraction, I would get 25 minus 5 equals 20, which is not going to get us all the way back to 5. So the only one that's going to work for that is going to be division. Now, for number 19, go ahead and think about what the answer to 3 times 3 is. Go ahead and write that in your book. And if you need to pause real quick to do that, go ahead and do that. Our answer is going to be 9. So now let's look. I need to start at 6, and then we are going to an answer that's going to be larger than our starting number. So I'm either going to have to add or multiply to be able to do that. So which one of those 2 options is going to give us the answer 9? If I go ahead and try multiplication, we're kind of working with this today, multiplying by 3s. Hopefully we're going to figure out, we're going to get a little bit bigger number here. We're actually going to get 18. So for this one, we want to go ahead and add. The next one, we need to go ahead and do 24 minus 16. And so when we do that, I would definitely recommend that you write the problem like this because we have to regroup. We have to borrow from here. And I need to move my page over. There we go. We need to borrow. This number 4 is smaller than the 6 on the bottom. So I can't start with 4 of something and then take 6 away and then be able to put a number down here. It doesn't work. So I've got to have more here. So I've got to borrow here. I'm going to take away a group of 10 and trade that in for 10 ones. And then I can do 14 minus 6. So that is going to give us the answer of 8. And again, we are going to be starting at 16, and we need to figure out how we're going to work our way backward to 8 using the number 2. So think about that for a moment. Pause the video if you need to. And that is going to be division. So again, if I do 16 minus 2, that's only going to get me back to 14, which is not going to work. All right. I am going to ask you to go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and look at number 21, 22. Actually, just do 21 and 22. So go ahead and do both of those, and then we'll go on to something a little bit different. So pause the video. Go ahead and think through those steps that I've talked to you about, and go ahead and try this on your own. When you're ready, go ahead and hit play. All right. So for 21, we're working with a larger set of numbers, adding them together. This is going to give us the answer 32. Now, I will say that you can cheat on this one. And when I say cheat, I'm talking about using kind of logic or reasoning or some kind of trick. I'm not talking about looking off of someone else's paper or like using a calculator to find the answer. The only thing that's going to make sense for this one is for us to multiply, because I cannot do 8 plus 4 and get to either of these two numbers. And I have to add both of those numbers together. So the only type of problem that could make sense for that would be multiplication. So that's why I was saying you can possibly cheat to get to the answer for that. And so if anybody ends up watching this that isn't in my normal class, I use that word to talk about using some tricks and so forth. So we're not actually doing the real math, but we're using common sense, or hopefully common sense, to figure out what might be the best possible answer. Kind of like doing a multiple choice test and you figure out, hey, we want to figure out what number the answer is, and this is a color. We're not going to want to pick that answer. So we can go ahead and line through that and then look at the things that might actually be the right answer and then try to work our way from there. So kind of a similar idea. Number 22. We need to find the answer to 6 times 12, the answer to, 6 times 2, which is 12. And then of our two options, we're starting with a larger number and we're working our way back to here. This one will be subtraction. So let's look at number 24. I'm looking at my time. So I'm going to go ahead and do number 24, and we'll look at a couple on here, and then we'll go to the homework. So I'm still trying to make this a little bit shorter. So we've got 21 photos and 15 postcards. We're putting 3 items on each page. So one of the things that we can do is figure out how many pages of photos we would get, and then how many pages of postcards we would get, and then add those together. You could also add these numbers together and then divide by 3. So I'm going to suggest that we do the first option. So I'm going to put a number for photos. So think about that. We've already done this. Actually, we would have done this if we had done this one. But we have done 21 divided by 3 on the previous page. So if you want to go back and look at that, you can go ahead and do that. So this is going to give us 7. And then we are going to add the answer to 15 divided by 3. So that's going to be 5. All right, so we're back from my computer trying to crash on me again. So we've got 5 for this one. So 15 divided by 3 gave us 5. 7 plus 5 gives us 12. Let's look at our next page. So let's do number 27. So there's there are 5 equal teams in the relay race. How many students are on each team? We want to write a division equation that shows the number of students on each team. And so we have the relay race. Go ahead and figure out what I'm actually pointing at the number. So we just need to write the problem. It should be pretty easy. So pause the video if you need to. Again, we're going to start with our large number. We are going to divide by 5 teams, and then the answer is going to be the number on each team, and that would give us 5. Let's see. All right. I think in the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and go to the homework. So I would like you to complete from 2 up to 18 on the front, and then we're going to do 1 through 6 on the back. So keep in mind, most of these are going to be working with 3s. It looks like there's a couple that don't. So 16 divided by 2 and 12 divided by 4, we might be working with different math facts there. Although I think one of those is actually going to give us an answer of 3 instead of us actually dividing by 3. On the back, again, we've got more problems working with 3s. So a lot of these, you could probably get the answer for a word problem from another problem that we've already done, and that can help you out a little bit. So let's look at the bottom 4. Each bicycle has 2 wheels. How many wheels do 8 bicycles have? So we want to figure out at 2 wheels per bicycle how many wheels we have. So think about what type of problem that's going to be. Number 4, how many students watch less than 3 hours of TV a day? So we are looking for all of the X's that would be above the numbers that are less than 3. So back earlier in the year when we were working on this, I would suggest you take your hand, kind of cover up the part that we don't need, and then count the remainder of the X's. Number 5, we want to show the distributive property. I actually don't like that problem because I think that's probably too small of a number. So I think I'm going to actually just X that one out. If we did it with a larger number, it might make more sense to try to use the distributive property for that. And then for number 6, let's go ahead and figure out what the answer is for 21 divided by 3. And then we can also count by 3s to get to 21, and the number of times that we count there would give us the answer. So hope you have a great day. I will be doing another daily math section tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in Google Classroom, and otherwise, I will see you tomorrow.